Hi, welcome to Messier Mantra. I'm your host, Mike Messier. On this episode, we have a very special guest. His name is Dave Kane.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, Dave.
Good, good.
And to introduce you would take up the whole screen because...
I've been fired from a lot of places. Yeah.
But you've always left on good terms, or
Yeah.
maybe not. But we've known each other for quite some time.
Yeah.
In fact, you were a guest on my previous show, Mike Messier's show,
Yeah.
out of Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm still getting fan mail from that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'm still getting residuals, but I'm not
Great,
sharing
great.
them. But the way we met was you've done so much in your life, but what brought us together was a tragedy, an unfortunate situation. Obviously, it was your son Neill was killed in a Station Fire, which I believe was February 20th, 2003.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Yep.
Affected a lot of people, but none so more than yourself. Your son, unfortunately passed away in that fire. But there's so much more to you than that. We're going to have you on for 2 shows, but let's talk about Nick, if we can, because
Gladly.
that's what brought us together.
Well, Nick was the youngest victim of the fire. He was 18, and 100 people died. 200 people, many of them very seriously injured.
Right.
And this was the 4th largest nightclub fire in the country's history.
Yep.
In Rhode Island. Can you imagine? Beginning the day after the fire, we started to get signs from Nicky that at first we didn't recognize them. We thought, oh, there's a coincidence, whatever.
Right.
But Nick started to come through and let us know that he was fine. I do a presentation called 41 Signs of Hope, and I start with the first slide that says, why 41 Signs of Hope? And 41 was Nicky's number.
Right.
He'd get in the car with me and say, Dad, look, it's 241. Or he'd say a license plate, Dad, 41, 41. And none of us knew what it was. We couldn't figure it out. And so we did some study, couldn't really place what it was. And then we started to understand. When Nicky passed, he was 18 and 23 days, 41.
Yep.
The Station Nightclub is at latitude 41.41. The fire call box at the station is 4414. By the way, this is the book cover, and on the cover of the book, as you see, is a sketch of Nicky from a videotape we found a year after he passed.
Okay.
And in the videotape, his mom's holding him. He has a little baseball uniform on, and the number on the cap is 41.
Right, yeah.
And we were starting to be followed by this number the whole time. And it's really, really been terrific.
Yes.
In the sense that we are knowing that not only is Nicky well and okay, but all of our loved ones, the ones we miss who have passed, they're trying to let us know that they're fine too.
Right.
And that's really the message of this book, is to have hope. Nicky wrote a play a year before. By the way, this is, hold on a second. I think I'm going to pull it back up. I want to show you Nicky's picture.
There he is, yep.
This is Nick.
Yep.
He wrote a play a year before he died called They Walk Among Us.
Right.
The play is about teenagers who die and come back as angels.
Yes, and it's been on stage at the Stadium Theater eventually.
It has, and it's also been broadcast on PBS.
Right.
And there's an award-winning documentary, as you know,
yes.
about Nick called 41.
Yep.
Not the one about George Bush. This is the other 41.
Right.
And in all of this, we have really been encouraged to know that Nick's around.
Right.
And he does it in a lot of very interesting ways. These slides that I'm showing you now are from a presentation that I do called 41 Signs of Hope. And I try to show people evidence of what I'm talking about. Try to show people evidence of what Nick has done. And one of the things is this, joined at the heart, happy birthday, Chris. We have 4 boys.
Right.
Chris is the oldest. He's a stage director in New York. Billy is with the San Francisco Opera.
Wow.
My son David is an actor and a producer and works with challenged adults to teach them drama.
Right.
And Nick. But the 2 closest were Chris and Nick.
Okay.
They were always very tight. And Chris was always obsessed with videotaping Nicky.
Right.
Days of videotape, right? And he was constantly videoing him. And in the house, in the yard, in the bathroom. Don't ask.
It's okay.
Yeah. And so Now we know why, because there's this award-winning documentary called 41.
Right.
And in it, you can see Nicky from the time he's wearing that 41 on his hat to moments before he passes.
Yes.
It's very moving. I know you've seen it.
I saw it at the cable car years ago. It
yeah.
was your son Christian and
Yep. Christian D. Resendez was the other
co-director. Yeah,
producer,
and it's a
right,
great doc.
exactly. Yeah, very cool. It's a terrific movie. So the reason I tell you all of this is because the year that Nicky passed, it came to be Chris's birthday, and we decided we were going to all go out to dinner and have a little party. And he asked for a new video camera.
Right.
Now I wanted to get him a Sony because I'm a big spender.
Yeah.
They're $10 more, I think.
Right.
But his mom said, no, we have to get him a Samsung. So we get him a Samsung.
Okay.
So we're all in the car going to Bugaboo Creek to have dinner.
Sure.
And Chris is going to open his present. By the way, isn't it great now? You don't have to wrap presents anime. You just put them in a bag.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, no.
Put a bunch of toilet paper on top. It's very good. And so we were taking him to Bugaboo, and he takes his box out, the camera.
Right.
And he starts to open it. Now, I should tell you that every year, when it was Chris's birthday, he'd let Nicky blow out his candles.
Yeah.
They're
They had
10
a
years
special
apart.
bond. Yeah.
10 years, very special.
Right.
So he starts to take his present out, and he says to his mom, I guess this year I have to blow out my own candles.
Right.
So he starts to open the box, and inside is a brochure from Samsung. And on the cover of the brochure is a picture. A little boy blowing out the candles on a birthday cake.
Yeah. And right.
Now that's pretty cool, don't you think?
Yeah.
When we're talking about blowing out about birthday candles.
Right.
This is Nicky.
Yeah. It's a ringer. Yeah. It looks just like him. Yep. Very, very, very similar. Yeah.
Now my wife thought that was Nicky. My wife believed that this was her son.
Yeah.
On the left, and she thought it was from a Disney cruise we went on.
Wow.
So it took me 6 years to get somebody from Samsung to talk to me because they thought they ran a picture of my son without permission.
Oh, okay.
Nobody
right.
wanted to pay me anything, you know.
Right.
But I finally got a hold of an executive who happened to be female. All the guys had kind of shut me off.
Yeah.
And this woman, very astute, said to me, I don't think this is your son, but I'm going to have the photographer call you.
Oh, well, okay.
And so the following Tuesday, he called me at 11:41.
Wow.
And said to me, "This is Mr. Kane. We've looked at this is not your son. We did this shoot in San Diego.
Right.
And but I'm going to send you all the pictures from that shoot.
Wow.
And you can see for yourself."
Right.
Well, he sent me all the pictures, and in none of the other pictures does this boy look as much like Nicky
Right.
as he does in this one.
Right.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Wow. Yeah, definitely signals and signs.
Well, that's pretty amazing, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
And I believe your family has spoken with psychic mediums as well. Is that right?
We've been to many mediums, and one of the first things that happened was the morning after the fire. There's a woman locally whose name is Cindy Gilman.
Right.
She's in East Greenwich. She's a medium. She used to come on my radio show and read people, you know. And she called me the morning after the fire and said, I heard what happened. If there's anything I can do, please let me know. And I was confused because we hadn't said anything about Nick yet. We hadn't had even a chance to let people know.
Right.
So I called her back and I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, I saw the fire all night last night on TV. You know, I thought I'd come on the air if I can help people feel better. And then I told her about Nick, and she said, I should have said something. And I thought, oh, great. Now I got a medium that's going to tell me she knew something she had no idea.
Right.
So I was not in a good mood that morning, as you can imagine.
Yes, sure.
And I hung the phone up.
Right.
A couple of days later, I calmed down and I called her back to apologize. And she said, no, you don't know the story. She said, I stayed up most of the night that night watching the fire. I finally went to sleep. I got up the next morning, made myself a cup of tea, sat at my kitchen table. And I had the vision of a charred boy who said to me, please call my father.
Right.
Please call my father. She had no idea who this was. It shook her.
Yeah.
She just went to her personal phone book and flipped it open. And she flipped it open to the K's, and my name was the only name on the 2 pages.
Right.
And she thought, well, I'll go on Dave Kane's radio show to find out who this boy is.
Not realizing.
Not realizing it was Nick
Right.
checking in.
Right. This type of thing, I mean, the station fire, 100 people, and like as you said, 200 people with injuries, and a couple other 100 people were there, you know.
And thousands of people's hearts broken.
Right, exactly.
Too.
It affects so many people because people don't realize it's not just the victims, the people that were there, but all the connections, especially in a small state like Rhode
Well, not
Island.
only that, I mean, a third of these people were from Massachusetts. There were many people from Connecticut as well. They drew from a long area for this, yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching some footage recently. A gentleman did a documentary about the station fire, and one of the guys in the fire was lost his fingers, but then he's actually kind of a medical miracle, had fingers put on his hand from cadavers and just able to move his fingers now. So, and one thing that talking with you recently, just as you kind of reassured me pretty much, is that there is, as much as it sounds crazy almost to think about it, there is hope or there's positivity to come out of something like this. Why don't you tell me more about that?
Well, certainly there is. You know, we don't know what the world is about. We have no idea. We're just passengers on this ride. You know,
Right.
you get on a ride at Disney World that you've never been on before, and you don't know what's around the corner.
Right.
And that's what our life is like. But you have to have faith and understand. I mean, think about it, Mike. No offense, but look at the people you work with. Look at me. You think I'm the best God can do? There's got to be more to this. There's
Right.
got to be more to the universe. There's got to be more to. A friend of mine, the guy that published my book, Paulino, he's a paranormal expert, and he talks about not the universe, but the multiverse. That there are. He equates it to suds in a bathtub. You know, the bubbles are all together and connected, you know.
Right.
And that there are maybe parallel universes. They get into quantum physics and stuff. I have no idea. But I do know that this can't be it.
Of course,
That this is a preliminary, or it's a punishment. I'm not exactly sure what. And we're going to find out when it's over that in Nicky's play, at the end of Nicky's play, Grace the angel says to one of the boys, in the end, everything, and I do mean everything, is going to be just fine.
Right.
And that's why I call the book Do Not Fear to Hope. Because in the end, everything, and I do mean everything, is going to be just fine. Excuse me, I call the book 41 Signs of Hope. The last line in Nicky's play is, do not fear to hope.
Right.
And so we put that on his headstone.
And I saw the play on PBS.
Yeah.
Which I really liked, and you were acting in it as well. You were playing kind of an antagonistic
I
character.
got to play a homophobic minister, yeah.
Right.
Typecasting, I guess. I don't know. No, it was great. And my son, David, played the part Nicky wrote for himself.
Right.
Cyrus. Nicky, of course, wrote the lead for himself.
Sure. Hey,
of course,
smart
right?
actor.
Yeah, exactly. If you're writing, write yourself in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you do your part.
Yeah, and Nicky's girlfriend played Grace the Angel. And
Abby was her.
Yeah,
was her name?
Gabby.
Gabby. Yep.
Gabby, yep. And her brother played Levi, you know.
Right.
And Chris's brother directed the play.
Yes.
Christian de Resende shot the play and
Yep.
edited it. So it was a whole family, and all of the people in that play were either friends or relatives of Nick's.
Right. And I was watching on PBS, and I was, this is great. You know, and I thought actually you were quite good as that antagonistic, because I think of you as a very nice guy, obviously. So seeing you in that antagonistic role, I was like, this guy's got range.
Well, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Some people would like me out on a range someplace, yeah.
And now the stage play that Nick wrote that was on stage and on PBS is a documentary of a theater piece with a theater piece coming to the forefront.
Well, that's inside 41. In other words, the movie 41, which is about the whole deal,
right.
Keeps going back to parts in the play, because when he wrote this play, it was a year before he passed. He was 17.
Right.
And we can recognize so many parts of this play that were people right out of his own life, and right exact things that he did. And so it was very touching. And so we go back and forth in 41 from Nick, from the play to real life, so to speak.
Right.
And you see the parallels to
Right.
Nick that came from the play. It's very cool.
And then there's, if you want to talk about the screenplay adaptation about that as well, if you want to mention that.
Yeah, this is interesting. John Land, who is an international thriller writer, is from Rhode Island.
Right.
And he read about Nick and wanted to meet us. And he came to do that at ACT, the old children's theater that Nick was in for a while. So we met John and we got to be pals, and he read Nicky's play. And he was impressed with the play and asked permission to write a feature-length motion picture based on Nicky's play, the premises. And his first draft was, he had to add, of course, all these characters and subplots, and he had to flesh it out because it was just a one-act play.
Sure.
But everybody he added he used the name of somebody in Nicky's life that he had no idea Nicky knew.
Okay.
I mean, he just picked, this person would be this person, it would be somebody in Nicky's life. All of the names, it was incredible.
He was using his own imagination and somehow tapped into, wow.
Right, exactly.
That,
well,
wow.
he gives Nick full half credit for this thing.
Right.
Because he feels that he's been talking to him,
As a writer, I can understand that, because sometimes I do feel like I'm, kind of tapping into a higher consciousness, or and Denzel Washington, the actor, said that once in an interview, I think on 60 Minutes or a show like that, where he felt that these voices of the characters he's playing just come to him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is part of this. This is people talking to you, letting you know you're right.
Yeah.
Patting you on the back, saying to you, maybe you don't want to trust this guy or this person.
Right.
There's people, I firmly believe, watching for us, watching out for us.
Do we want to check out the next
Sure,
slide?
you want to do another? Let me see what I got up here, guy. I remember what I got. Oh. We had a house in Cranston we lived in, and when we sold that house, Nicky was very upset because the boys had made a clubhouse in the attic.
Yep.
With a great slanted ceilings,
Right.
a great attic thing. And they came up and they drew all over the walls, and they put cartoons up and tic-tac-toe and signed it, and it was a real museum.
This is their turf, yeah.
Something really cool.
Yeah.
So when we left the house, he was very upset. And one day, a couple of years after Nicky passed, my wife Joanne and Nick's mom was walking down the street about 6:30 in the morning, taking an early morning stroll and talking to Nick, as she does.
Right.
And she said, Nick, one of these days we're all going to go back and get that house. We'll buy the house back, and we'll have everybody come back, and they put the cartoons back up again, and the drawings back in, and paint again, and put the whole tic-tac-toe, the whole night. We'll get them all back. And then she said, of course, honey, I know I'm not going to be able to get everybody back.
Right.
And when she said that, she looked down, and there was a piece of that cheap art paper they give out in school, completely dry on a dew-filled morning.
Huh.
And she bent down, picked it up, turned it over, and on the other side of the paper, a young artist had drawn a picture of a man, a boy, and a woman and a dog.
So this, my interpretation. Well, you go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the bottom signed it, Nicholas.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So this is the way I would interpret it would be kind of like his life now in the realm that he's in. Mm-hmm. That's how I would. That's the way the media thinks.
So he in some way, and I talked to my friend Pauline, who I mentioned, and I asked him, how can something like this happen? I mean, a kid could have gotten off a bus and named Nicholas and dropped the drawing, right? And she just happens to come on it while she's thinking.
Right. I mean, about this.
It can, right?
Sure.
But Paul talks about this multiverse and talks about how it's possible for spirit to be able to actually place things in front of you. Many people who have lost someone special, someone lives in the house sometimes, they'll go to look for glasses.
Right.
They'll go look for, and they'll go look here, and there's no glasses there. And then they'll look all through the house, they'll come back, and they'll go to the same place, and the glasses will be there. And you'll say, now I know they weren't there, I just looked for them.
Right.
And the theory is that this is spirit messing with you. Taking them away and bringing them back.
Having a little fun at your expense.
Yeah. Trying to let you know, trying to click into you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What else? What else?
You want to know? Let me see what else
that
I
was
have for
that was
you.
pretty big, but let's.
Oh, I think I may have another one for you. Thanksgiving with the family.
Yeah.
It's a long story, this, but I'll shut it all down. We all decided one year to go to Hart's Turkey Farm.
Okay.
In New Hampshire. Meriden, New Hampshire. Have you heard about this? It's a place that sells turkey, obviously. You know.
Sure.
So Thanksgiving's their big day.
Right.
Okay. And so we're all going to go up. This is about just 2.5 years after the fire. We go up to Hart's Turkey Farm. This is an 1.5-hour drive from Providence. And plus the 1.5 hours because there was an accident on 95. And,
right.
So now I'm 3 hours in the car. There's 2 cars full of family. And we finally get up to Hart's Turkey Farm. They got a big white tent outside. They've got hot cider. They've got a football game up on this big screen, you know.
Right.
All I want to do is get in and have my turkey dinner.
Sure.
So we finally get called. We go in like 9 of us or 12 of us go in and we sit down and have this turkey dinner. At the end, they hand me the check. And we just had made reservations to stay at the Inn at the Falls up there. It's a beautiful inn, and it has a waterfall going right through it. Right? And of course, in the winter, it freezes up. A lot of it freezes up, and it's just beautiful.
Right.
So we all go to Hart's Turkey, to the Inn at the Falls, and we go in and we check in. And guess what they're giving everybody that day who checks in? Free turkey dinner. You son of so now we all get into the room. Now we also have a relative that so many people have, especially at holidays, and it's the relative that won't put down the camera.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, Mike, you stand next to Gladys. Gladys, you stand next to Mike.
Right.
Phil, you come up. You got people in your house you wouldn't pick up if they were hitchhiking.
Right.
And yet, now you got to stand. Exactly, right.
Every single
Well,
combination.
we got Uncle Vito, and Uncle Vito, he's the one with the camera at these events.
Right.
The last time we went to Disney World, he took 1,000 pictures.
Wow.
1,000 pictures.
That's a lot, yeah.
Me
yeah.
in front of the castle, my wife in front of the castle, me and my wife in front of the castle, my wife on this side, my wife on that side. Oh, my God. When his daughter graduated from high school, he took 600 pictures.
Wow.
He was taking pictures for other people's families. Give me your email address, I'll send it to you. Right? Okay, so I tell you that because when we get in at the Falls, we finally get into our room.
Yeah.
And this is the Uncle Vito took a picture. Now, on the right is my wife standing there. Next to her is our niece.
Yeah.
And if you see under her jacket, there's legs from her brother.
Okay,
She's
I see
blocking her
that,
brother there.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy on the bed you might recognize. By the way, this is what I look like when I'm standing up, if anybody, if you want to know. Okay. Now, there's somebody else in that picture. Can you see them?
I see the 2 legs behind the jacket. I see camera on the floor on the far right. I see a water bottle on the left.
Okay, so you don't see.
No.
Okay, how about this?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah, there's yeah. What's going on here? Wow.
Well, what's going on there
Wow.
is that figure, there was nobody standing behind Joanne in the room that we could see.
Right.
If you look on the top, you'll see the shoulders. If you look at the bottom, you'll see black pants.
Okay.
You can see black pants. You see the shadow of my wife's sweater on the duvet, but just under that are black pants.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I see them. Yeah.
This figure is the same height and weight of Nicky.
Wow.
So this was Nicky joining us for Thanksgiving.
Checking in. Yeah.
Now, if you were me, what would you think?
I would probably think what you're thinking, which is Nick was a musician.
Nick was a musician. Nick did what a lot of kids do. He was with his mom one day going by a music store, and he said, I think I could play a guitar.
Right.
So she said, okay. So we said, okay, well, here's the deal. You got to take lessons. You got to promise to practice. Typical parent stuff.
Sure.
And the funny part is that he did do that. And, well, he took 4 lessons and proceeded to write 50 songs.
Yeah, right. He was just
a tremendous Tremendous writer.
Natural.
His band was supposed to open for Great White. Actually,
Shrine, was it called?
Shrine, Shryne.
Yep.
And he was supposed to open for Great White on Friday night. And
Right.
he went on Thursday. So Nick has really accomplished a lot of that too. Very cool.
So was the band actually scheduled for 2 shows then?
It was scheduled for Friday night to open for them. Friday. They had played New Year's Eve that
Right.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a guy that I do know, was it John Brennan?
Yeah, John Brennan was in there.
Yeah, he's big guy, big guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have, I think I have one more for you here.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Let me see. Yeah, let me tell you this, because how much time we got?
We've got 2.5 minutes.
See if I can get this in.
Sure.
My wife worried that Nicky suffered in the blaze.
Right.
She worried that he felt the flames. It drove her crazy.
Yes.
Every medium we went to said to us, no pain. That was the phrase they used, no pain. When we asked them, they'd say no pain. When we didn't ask, they'd say no pain.
Okay.
Still, my wife worried about it.
Right.
Every once in a while, she would get teary and think about it. Well, about 6 years ago, we were tagging a Christmas tree in Lincoln, Rhode Island. Nick loved doing that, so every year we tag a tree. So we were out tagging this tree, and my wife was in this mode worrying about Nick. And being the kind, gentle, loving husband that I am, I was screaming at her.
Right.
When are you going to get it?
Yeah.
How many times has this kid got to tell you?
Yeah.
No pain, no pain. He doesn't want you crying. He doesn't want you sad. He doesn't want you upset. He wants you to know that he was fine.
Right.
He's safe. No pain.
Right.
We get in the car, and my wife is driving. We're going up Breakneck Hill Road, and I'm saying, you know, Cindy Gilman, Robert Brown, Roland Comtois, all of these mediums, they've all said no pain.
Right.
That phrase. Finally, I say to her, what do you want him to do? Put it in writing?
Right.
And as soon as I said that, a car coming from the other direction had the vanity plate, no
Wow.
pain.
Oh, man. Wow.
This is owned by an anesthesiologist who lives in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And he lives about a quarter of a mile away from the Christmas tree farm.
Wow.
We got his permission to show his plate and to use it in the book. So you tell me if you believe in coincidence or you believe in my son or all of our loved ones
Right.
sending us messages, letting us know they are well, you will be well, do not fear to hope.
Right.
That's what he's telling.
Well, Dave, we've got about 30 seconds. Is there a quick mantra you can share? Because we're gonna have you in the show, but go ahead.
That's it. Basically, we put it on Nick's headstone. Do not fear to hope. Do not be afraid. All will be well. Just be honest with yourself and move forward.
Dave Kane, thanks for coming on Messier
Thank
Mantra.
you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. This is Mike Messier. We'll see you next time right here on Messier Mantra.